Hello guys, welcome back to our channel. It's me Anil. We are back in the series of online food ordering website using ASP.NET C#. In previous video, that is part number 12, we have seen the order payment, and in today's video, that is part number 13, we're gonna display the invoice details, and we will after that gonna download that details in a PDF format in our system. Okay, so guys, let's get started. Close this. Okay, so in previous video so last video we have created the invoice page, right? So that is the empty one. We just displayed the text invoice. Okay, so let's design the invoice page first. Let's open the cart design page. From there, let's copy this section part till here. Let's copy it and remove this part, paste it here. Let's first close the section tag, closing tag of section. Okay, so we don't want this h2 tag. Let's remove this first. So here we have taken the label control for displaying the message, but we want to take the JavaScript code for disappearing this message after few seconds, like after 5 seconds it won't get disappear, right? You know, like we have already done in almost every pages. I think in card page we didn't implement it. Actually, we don't want there, that's why. So let's close this, open some other page where we have done that. Let's see in login page, in design page of login, here it's there. Let's copy the script part and paste it here. Saving. Okay, so now after this div tag, which is a having the class container, after that we'll create another div tag which contain this container. Let's copy this. So in this we're gonna take a repeater control, that is .NET control repeater ASP repeater. Let's take ID of it, repeater, order item, like we are gonna display the order item right here. So then run it server. Now inside this repeater control, we have to take header template, then the body and the footer, right? So let's see one by one. So first let's take here header, then item, then footer. Okay, so let's take here header templates, close this. In that, let's take table tag. So first of all, let's give some bootstrap classes to this table tag. So I have taken here the bootstrap class table responsive of small, table border, table hover. Now let's take here ID table invoice. After that, inside the table, let's take T head, class bg, dark, text void. Inside, let's take table row, table header, serial number. Let's copy this, let's paste it 5 times. Okay, so after table row, here after table head, that is T head, we have to take T body. Okay, so after table, after this header template, let's take item template. Here first take table row. In that we want to display this data. Okay, this closing tag of body and table, we don't want that. Cut from there and paste it here. Don't think so. Here in footer template we want that actually. Footer template, here we need to paste that, and here we need to take only tr. Okay, so in this table row we want to take table data, in which we want to display data. So here first we'll wanna display the first one, that is the serial number. Okay, so open angular bracket, percent hash, then even. Now the column name, that is SR and no serial number. Okay, so we want this 5 times more. Okay, let's let me change this the remaining 5. Okay, so I have done the changes here. The second column, that is order number, name, price. If the price is empty, like we're going to display here. Okay, it first check like whether the price is the null or empty. If it is null or empty, it going to display nothing. Okay, if it is not null, then we're going to display the price, but with that we are going to concatenating this rupee symbol, that is Indian currency, right? And here after that the quantity and then the total price. Before that we have just taken the currency symbol here. Okay, so like other countries, like they can prefer to take here dollar symbol as well as here. Okay, so we have completed the repeater control. Okay, now after that repeater control here, let's take div tag, text center. Now here we'll take here one link button, ASP link button, ID is equals to LB, that is link button, download invoice. This button will gonna use for downloading the invoice. Okay, run at server. Let's take here CSS class btn info. Okay, so after that we're gonna display here the text, that is download invoice. Okay, but before that I want to display one icon. So for that I'm gonna take here one I tag in which I'm gonna display the font awesome icon. Okay, so for that let's take here class fa font awesome. Let's take some margin to the right, that is 2, margin right 2. Okay, done. The design part is done. Now let's go to the code behind page. Just can go by here, view code, or press F7 key, it will come here. Okay, or can go by here in the solution explorer where it is the page invoice here. If you expand it, you can see here the xps.csv, that is the code behind page. Okay, now so what we want, like in this invoice page we want to display the order details, right? So first of all we're gonna create a function. In that function, like we're gonna call the store procedure of invoice. We don't have that invoice, we're gonna create in a moment. So let's first create the invoice. Open your SQL Server Management Studio. Okay, so in store procedure here, let's create a new store procedure. Okay, so let's take the procedure name invoice. After that we have to take some parameters. The first one is action, second one is payment ID, third one user ID, order details ID, status. Okay, now what we want some over here, like the statements, like query which we want to perform the operation on this for the invoice. So let's take one by one here. So I pasted the code for that here, the query. Okay, so let's see one by one. The first one is get invoice by ID. So in that, like here it will check invoice by ID. That means like if we pass the ID, so based on the ID we're gonna get the invoice details. Okay, so the query is simple. It will gonna fetch the row number, that is how much data like we are fetching. Based on that, the serial number will gonna represent it, like how many count is there for that. Okay, so that is the first column, SR number, that is serial number, and the second one is order number, that is coming from O, that is here is orders, means from the order tables we are fetching the order number. Name, that is coming from P represents here products. Okay, from the products table we are fetching the name of the product. Order number we are fetching from orders table. Okay, and the price from the product table, quantity from the orders, and then what we are doing here, calculating the total price, means how much quantity, based on that, like price gets calculated, we get the total price. Okay, then order date, status, both are coming from the orders table. Okay, So what we have done here, we have taken the inner join on product table. Okay, based on product ID of product table and product ID on orders table. Okay, so we have taken here condition as well, because we want to fetch the details based on the ID. Okay, that is the payment ID as well as user ID. So we have taken that parameter here, payment ID as well as the user ID. Okay, the second one is that is the order history we want to display. Okay, so this will gonna use in the next video, that is upcoming video, for displaying the list of orders done by the users. Okay, at that time we're gonna use that. That is like it will gonna fetch the data of orders of a user, particular user who is logged in. Like based on the user ID, it gonna fetch the order history. Okay, I'm gonna display. The third one is get status. Okay, so we have taken here 3 tables data for displaying here. Like the first one is order, second one is payment, third one is product. So like we want to display the status in the sense the order status, like let's see the column first one by one. The order, that is the first one, order details ID, order number, the total price, status, order date, payment mode, product name. Okay, so based on the product ID, okay, get status, we are displaying all the status of your like product. Okay, and here in the next, that is the we are fetching the status of a order by its ID. We are passing the order details ID, based on that we are fetching the order details. Okay, and the second one, like we are updating the status for that, like we are using this query. It will gonna update the status, whatever the status we are passing from there in this parameter. So this we are gonna update the status of that orders with the help of order details ID. Okay, so this is a simple like store procedure. Like we are now very familiar with the store procedure, how to create it, and the query also, like you are very well known with the inner joins we have used in every store procedure. Okay, so let's create this store procedure. Okay, click on execute, it gets created. Let's close this. If you want to save this store procedure somewhere, you can save. I'm not going to save it, just click on no, because we are already gonna get that store procedure here inside this store procedure. Just refresh it, you will get your invoice from here. Like if you click on modify, you will get the invoice here. Okay, so let's open our Visual Studio now. Okay, now we want to create one function. In that function we're going to call that invoice store procedure for displaying the for fetching the data of the invoice that we want to display. Okay, in the repeater control. Okay, let's create the function. It's a private function, like I'm not going to give that access modifier. By default it will be a private function. Okay, now the data type, that is a return type of this function, is data table. Okay, the namespace gets imported here automatically. Okay, now we need to give the function name, that is get order details. So before that we have to take some classes. Let's take here SQL connection, SQL command, SQL data adapter, data table. Okay, so like it will gonna import the namespace automatically. Okay, if you like not able to fetch that, like you need to manually take that namespace here. You can type here or just right click here and click on quick actions and refactoring. It will gonna add that the namespace at the top. Okay, now let's take the code inside this function. So I have taken here this code inside this function. Okay, it's not taking the connection. Let's type it. Okay, now it's done. I don't know, like while pasting this the class connection class is not fetching that, it's not able to read that, so I have to type it again. So now it's perfect. Okay, so what we are doing here, like first of all I have taken one variable of type double, that is grand total. Initially I have given the 0, the value is 0, and the second I have taken the SQL connection. In that I have passed the connection string that is coming from this get connection string function from the connection class. Okay, it's a static function, so that we are able to fetch it directly with the help of the class name. Okay, we don't want to create the object of this class directly, we can call with the help of the class name function name. Okay, now the second thing we have taken here SQL command. In that we are passing the command, that is like whatever the query, store procedure, whatever. So we are calling here store procedure, and we need to like pass the connection also for which database on which database, like we are calling this store procedure. Okay, so we'll come to know from this. After that we need to pass some parameter while calling this store procedure. The first one is invoice by ID. I think that is we have taken in the store procedure that we have created. Now let's check the name. It should be similar, otherwise it won't call. Okay, sorry, it's a parameter name, so it should be similar, otherwise we have get the error. Okay, here invoice by ID. So let's copy this and paste it here. It should be same. The action name, the payment ID, that is coming from the query string with the name of ID, and we want to convert into integer because this parameter takes integer value in the store procedure. So that's why we are passing in an integer format. Okay, then user ID, which user is logged in, so that is like we are passing through a session. Okay, then we need to specify this command type is of store procedure. Okay, now we are passing all this data to the SQL data director, and as you know, it don't require to open connection. You don't need to open the connection, it will automatically open connection for itself and close when the work is done. Okay, so then after that it will gonna fetch that data, and we have created the object of this data table. So when we fetch data from there, it will gonna bind to this data table. Okay, now like after binding data to the data table, that is a temporary storing table data. Okay, so first of all we need to check whether the data, like any data is present, any rows is present in data table or not. Okay, rows dot count, if it is greater than 0, then we'll call this for each loop. The purpose of calling this for each loop, what we want to calculate the grand total. Means suppose we are when the user place an order, the user bought two different items. Okay, so the item of the first price is suppose 10 and the second item price is 20. So what we want to display the total price of that both item, that is a grand total, like we are displaying here. Okay, so it will gonna in the loop how many items were there, it will gonna inside the loop that much time, and based on the column data, it will get that data and gonna store here. Means it will gonna add it and store here in grand total variable. That's why here we have taken the grand total. It's like price, where storing the price value, so that's why we have taken here double. Okay, so in for each loop, what we have taken the data row, because we are working on a data table that stores the data in a row format. So we have to call this take this here the class data row, that is in data.rows. So in this variable we'll get the value of that rows. Okay, that is of which rows we want to fetch, that is which column of rows that we want to fetch, that is of column total price. So in this column we'll get the price of that particular item. So we're gonna add it here one by one. It will gonna in the loop. Okay, after that, like, we'll get the grand total here. Okay, so now what we want to create a new row. Okay, so with this class we have created a new row. Okay, so and we have got the grand total. So we have displayed this in this data row that we have just created the new row. In that, with this name I have given here grand total, and then we are adding that in this data table. Actually, in data tables we have added extra columns and with the name of total price. Okay, and having the value of this grand total. Okay, now yeah, then it will return that data table data here. That's why we have taken here type data table. Okay, now we want to call this function in our page load. When the page gets load, we want to display that invoice or orders details, right, in this the repeater control that we have taken in our design page. Okay, so let's take here the if condition, like we usually check here for notice post back. In that, we'll check here first of all if the session is null or not. Means session of what? The user. Means the user should be logged in to access this page, right? So let's take here the session of user ID. I think U is small. Yeah, should not be null. Then we'll check if this page is coming from somewhere, like from the invoice page, and contains the query string, and we want to access that query string value from this request dot query string, and the name we have to pass here, that is ID. If it is not null, then we have to call this function. Okay, so this function returns data, that is in data table. So we want to display the data in our that repeater control that we have taken here. Okay, so we need to get this ID of this control dot data source is equals to the function that we have created. Call this get order details. Now we want to bind that to this data bind. Okay, so if it is like having this the user ID is the user is login at data. If it is not login, what we want the user should be redirected to the login page, right? Response dot redirect Okay, so let's run and see whether we are displaying the details or not. Okay, so let's run. Okay, let's log in here. Okay, so here in cart I am having here one item already. Let's go for checkout. Let's use here cash and delivery. Remove display point. Okay, your order is placed, but we didn't display the data here. Actually the problem is here id is equals to 3 equals to is not there, that's why it's not able to find that data. Okay, so that means this order is order id is 3. So if we pass here is equals to and press enter, you can see here the data is not displaying properly. That is having only one item, right? The order id gets generated here. For this item, the price, the quantity is 1, total price, then this is the grand total that we are talking about. If we have suppose one other item which is of 100 rupees, then 300 plus 100, that is 400, then this total count gonna display here as a 400. Okay, for that for each loop we have taken. Okay, now we need to fix that this id is equals to, we have to add this is equals to in that, like when the successful payment is done. Okay, that means like this page is now working. Now we want to work on this button. When we click on this button, this data should get downloaded in a PDF format. Let's close this application. First fix that part in payment that we have done in the previous video, in our last video, that is payment here. Okay, here we didn't take the is equals to, just add it, save it, that's it. Okay, now we want that when the user click on that button to download invoice, it should get download to that invoice file. Okay, so first of all we need to create here on click event for this button. Create new event. Okay, now in the code behind page we have got this on the button click event. Okay, so in button click event we'll call one function which will be responsible for creating the invoice. We can say which will be responsible for downloading the invoice, like in which format, the structure of that invoice that we're going to define in that function. So for that, like I am going to take here one new function. Okay, I'm just going to copy that function code and paste it here. So I'm pasting here code. Okay, so I will be gonna provide this the code of this function. Okay, now you can see I'm facing here some error. Okay, what it the Visual Studio understand, it gets import the namespace for particular class, like that needs to be done. Okay, so let's minimize this function first of all. The same for this page load also. Okay, actually we don't want here gets the namespace imported automatically by the Visual Studio. I don't want that. We want this data SQL client that we have taken here. Okay, okay, so like this is not required, like it's not gets highlighted. The highlighted the namespace is in use, okay, for this page. The rest of us like it's not in use. So we'll import the namespace for that function, the classes that we have used. Before that, I need to first add one library, that is the itex-up library, that is the DLL file in our project. So I have this file here. Let's copy this. I will gonna provide this the link of this file in the description or the comment box of this. So let's see how to add this DLL to a project. First of all, let's paste this inside this project which you have copied that file. First of all, let's paste here. Okay, we have pasted, and where it is here, itex-up.dll. okay, if you know, like in C# DLL, that is our library file. Okay, now what we want this itex-up library in our project. Let's add that right click on it, add reference. We need to browse here. In browse, can see here, like I'm getting this file here. If you don't get, just click on browse and select where you have pasted this file. Like in project we have pasted that file, so after browsing that, just select this file and click on OK. And I think it's for different. Let's browse and see. It's here inside this project. Let's add. We have to remove this, the first one which was initially there. Just added new one which we just pasted in our this project. Okay, just select that and click on OK. Now can see here the itex-up is added here in the reference. Got it? Now we need to import the namespace here one by one. Okay, using itex-up. This namespace is coming because we have just added that DLL itex-up. Okay, dot text dot PDF, because we want that to be used as a PDF. So for that we have used this DLL. Okay, so let's import the second namespace using itex-up dot text. The third namespace want to use here, that is the IO. We are working on a file that is input output, so we need to import that namespace as well. System.io input output semicolon, and the next one is using system.net. Okay, now if we come back to this function, all the error were gone and all the namespace for this classes that we have used in this is now perfect. Okay, remove this one. Okay, so okay, now what we want, we need to call this function inside this button click event. When the button gets clicked, it should call that function for downloading that the invoice into PDF. Okay, so first of all, we're gonna take here try catch block. In exception, we want to display the exception part. Let's say in which page we have that. I think login we have. Let's see here. Yeah, it's there. Copy, paste it here. What we want here, display error message. The message that is coming from exception object dot message to string. Okay, now in try block, let's take here one string variable download path. We need to define where we want to store the downloaded file, the PDF downloaded file. So on which path it should get downloaded. Okay, the best way it should get downloaded in our like some other drive, not in the drive which contain your Windows file. We don't want to save in that. Okay, but suppose what happens, like if you have only one file, like one drive, that is the C drive which you have the Windows. Okay, there is no other drive than other than that. Then in that case, like you need to create one folder in the C drive and go to the properties of that folder, and you need to give the permission of the read write. Means like you need to give the all permission for the users role. Okay, then in that, like you need to give the folder in this path. So let's give here the path first of all. In this double quote we need to give the path. Okay, so I am giving a path of E drive because I am having the E drive colon, because after the drive colon should be there. Then backslash the file name, like if you are having the folder, then you have to give the folder name. Suppose if you are having folder ABC slash then file name, order invoice, whatever file name you want to give, you can give. Then the main thing, extension should give you, that is PDF. Okay, but you can see like it's giving me error. So for that, like I have to take here add. Okay, add symbol here, but I am not storing the file in any folder, so I am just removing this folder. I just shown you, like for example, like if you like storing the file in C drive which contains your Windows files folders. Okay, so in that drive you need to create one folder of any name, but the main thing in that folder you need to give the permission, like because what happens in C drive, like normally in C drive the Windows gets gets installed, right? So in that what happens, the Windows don't allow outsider to create any files in that drive, right? But other than Windows drive like D, E or whatever drive, but other than Windows drive, in that case we directly create a file and save there. Okay, you don't ask any permission, but in the drive which contains the Windows files and folder, it always ask for admin permission. So that's why we need to create one folder and we need to give that rights to that folder. Then only we are able to save that in that folder. Okay, the file we need to able to save that in folder. So that's why you have to give this path like this way. If you don't storing in that, just remove this. Okay, like this way. If you are storing it in other drive, not in Windows drive. Okay, so I have given here the path. After that, data table, Actually we have taken here data table, right, dt, but I think dt we have used already somewhere. Okay, here we have used. Okay, so no problem, let's take here another one, or you can give here this comma another variable name. I'm just taking here new one, data table dtbl, that is data table. Okay, dtbl, that is data table. Okay, now we are calling that function get order details, which will, like, we want to display the order details in that invoice, right? So while downloading it should have the data, right? So that's why first of all we are calling that function and storing it in data table object. Okay, then we are gonna call that the function for export to PDF, that function. Now it requires 3 parameters to be passed for calling this function. So first one, that is the data table, the data we are that we want to display, that is the order details. So first one, that is of type data table, that is we have taken here dtbl. Just pass that comma. Then the second parameter is str pdf path, means like we need to pass the pdf path, like where we want to save it. The second, we have taken that variable, right, that is the download path. The third parameter is str header. So like in that we need to we have taken one header. What name should we have to give there? So let's give here order invoice. You will see, like in invoice we'll come to know where it is located, that data. Okay, so now what we want like to download this in our system, right? For that, like we will gonna use here web client. Okay, so the class, we have created the object of this web client class. Now we are taking here one array of type byte. Let's take array name as buffer. Let's check here, the object name is client. Okay, so in that web client we have one function, that is download data. In that we have to pass over the path, on which path it should get downloaded. Okay, so after that now it should contain some data right here. So first of all we need to check here if buffer is not null. At that time we need to download that, right? So for downloading that we need to pass in our header response. Okay, so for that response dot contain type, we have to mention that contain type, that is of type application. PDF. Then we need to add it in our header. As I said, add header. Content length, and we need to pass here buffer dot length, how much the length of that dot to string, and the last, that is response dot binary freight buffer. Done. Just make sure this should be same. Okay, content length, spelling mistake should not be there. Okay, otherwise it won't get downloaded. Okay. Okay, so okay, so let's now run this project, and let's see this time. Let's log in. Okay, so let's check out here. Confirm order. Order is placed. Now can see here two different items, like we have, and different order number, and the total price for that is here 200, 300, and the grand total is here, you can see 500. Okay, now let's click on download invoice. Okay, now it should take us to this page, and now you can see the header that we have passed order invoice. This header we have passed in that function while calling that function. Let me show you over here. Here in the third parameter we have passed this header string. Okay, that is your order invoice, and this data order from foodie, that is our website, that is the foodie. Okay, from there foodie fast food, that we have given this as a name. Whatever name you want you can give, and then the order date, the current date and time when the order is made. Okay, that time, and it gets saved in the database. From there it gets fetched every time and get displayed here, and the number of items for this order made is like we are able to see here, and the total price, like with the price, grand total price. Okay, now from if you like visit the file explorer, you will find that the file is get downloaded. Okay, so let me check that. You can see here this one, order invoice, it's get downloaded here. Can see the time also, just it's now 3:38. Okay, so if you like open that, can see here it's get open, and if you switch to the tab we were on, this one, and this file is like can see here, it's in drives E. From there we are file opening this file. If you zoom it, can see properly the data here. Okay, so that file is now gets downloaded in the path that we just specified. Okay, or you can, like if you want to save it somewhere else also, other part, like some other location, can like click here the save and select the location and just save it. If you want, you can, like for printout, just click on printout, the connected printout, to that it get printed. Okay, let's go back here. Okay, so like this is like it will download that file. Okay, so I think now everything is done here for this invoice page, and now in next video what we'll gonna see here in the profile section, we have here in the profile page we have purchase history section. The first section is basic info that we have already done. In the purchase history, that is left. So in the next video we're gonna display the order history of a user. Okay, like I want to say something like guys, like I'm sorry, like I'm not able to upload the videos regularly, like I don't get time. Okay, so that's why I'm not able to do like record it. Like I'm recording this video at night because it's daytime. Like if I get some time, like it's a very like too much noise like in the background, so I'm not able to record the video in the daytime, so I have to wait for the night. But like I have to awake in night and then record this video, and like it's almost morning for me. Like can see the timing also. Now it's going to be 4 o'clock soon, so after that like I'm going to sleep, and then I need to edit this video also, so that will gonna take almost 1 day. Like as I get time, when I like it will take 1 or 2 days, then you can see this video on YouTube. Like today is 9 I think, so you will find it on 10 or 11 or maybe on 12, like based on how much time I get for like to get edit this and like get done, and then we'll upload on YouTube. Okay, so I hope you like this video. We'll meet in the next video. Till then, bye, take care, thank you for watching.